guys, this is part 1 mnemonics of periodic table of elements. So for the 1A group of elements, we have the mnemonic Ha, Lena's kids rub cat's fur. So this is the trick for 1A group of elements. In this, H, Ha, in Ha we have the H for hydrogen, Li is for lithium, Na is for sodium. So Ha, Lena's kids, K is for potassium, Rub, Rb is for rubidium, Cs is for cesium, and Fr is for francium. So it is Ha, Lena's kids rub cat's fur. That is for 1A group of elements. The second is for the 2A group of elements. Alright, so here we have He bets Maggie can't survive bad radiation. So this is the mnemonic for 2A group of elements. So He for helium, bets, so Be for beryllium, Maggie, so Mg, so for magnesium, Ca for calcium, S for strontium, and survive bad, so barium, and Ra is for radium. So he bets that Maggie can't survive bad radiation. Of course, anyone can't. Alright, so moving on to the 3B group of elements here. So it is skylark. So you can remember it by skylark. Lark is actually a bird, right? So Sc for scandium, Y for yttrium, and L for lanthanum, and Ac for actinium. So scandium, yttrium, lanthanum, and actinium. So skylark. So skylark. Okay. So that is for 3B. Moving on to 4B group of elements, which is titanium, zirconium, hafnium, rutherfordium. So I'm covering the 4B now. Titan, zoop, half rough. So Ti for titanium, Z for zirconium, Hf for hafnium, and rough. So rough is for rutherfordium. So it's like rough. Alright. So Titan, zoop, half rough is for 4B group of elements. Moving on to the 5B, which is vanadium, niobium, tantalum, and dubnium. So for this we have Vani's notebook table is in dustbin. So basically I mean that Vani's notebook, which was earlier in table, is now in dustbin. So Va for vanadium, and for niobium notebook, and Vani's notebook, which was earlier in table, so that was for tantalum, and dubnium. So this is the 105 group, 105 atomic number. So that is dustbin. So Vani's notebook table, dustbin. Alright, so Vani's notebook table is in dustbin right now. Okay. Moving on to the 4B group of 6B group of elements, which is this one. Chromium, molybdenum, tungsten, seaborgium. So here I have left out the seaborgium. I'll cover those tricks. The left out elements will be covered in my part 2 video. So in the 6B group of elements we have chromium, molybdenum, tungsten. So remember it as chromo wow. Okay, just the rhyming sounds you should relate it. Chromo wow. Okay. So Cr for chromium, M for molybdenum, W for tungsten. Alright. Moving on to the 7B group of elements. So we have manganese, technetium, and rhenium. So Mantakri is the trick. Mantakri, chromo wow, Mantakri for 7B. So manganese, technetium, and rhenium. Alright. So next is for our 8th group of elements, which is iron, ruthenium, osmium. So for this, again, Firu's awesome house is the mnemonic. So Firu, Fi for iron, Ru for ruthenium, awesome is for osmium, and house. So Firu's awesome house. Alright, so house for hassium. Moving on to the 9th group of elements, which is cobalt, rhodium, iridium, meitnerium. So the mnemonic is cobs rhombus irregularly mounted. Okay, so cobalt, alright, cobalt, rhodium, irregularly, it's for iridium and meitnerium. Alright, so we have cobs rhombus irregularly mounted. Moving on to the 10th group of elements, which is nickel, palladium, platinum, damstadium. So here the trick is nice pudding plate, darlings. So Ni for nickel, Pd for palladium, plate, so platinum, and darlings for damstadium. So nice pudding plate, darlings. Alright, so that was for 10th group of elements. Coming to the 1b group of elements, which is copper, silver, gold. All these are coinage metals, so remember it in that way itself. I've added rugby here. Alright, so rugby is basically the rhengenium, Rg. So copper, silver, gold, rhengenium. Alright. So next is the 2b group of elements. Okay, so that was again showing you in the periodic table. It is zinc, cadmium, mercury, copernicium. So for this, the trick is Zin could hug the cop. Zin is a person and he could hug the cop. So zinc could hug the cop. So cop is for copernicium. Alright, so basically here we have the symbol is actually Cn and not Cp or something like that. So just remember this one thing. So Zin could hug the cop. Zinc, cadmium, mercury, copernicium. The next is for 13 group of elements, which is boron, aluminium, gallium, indium, and thallium. So B for boron. The trick is Bal Gangadhar Indian Tilak. So this is basically Indian. Alright. So Bal Gangadhar Indian Tilak. So we know he's a very famous freedom fighter. So boron, aluminium, gallium, indium, and thallium. Alright. So coming to the 14th group of elements, which is chemistry sir gets sudden problems. So it is for carbon, C for carbon, and this is for silicon, so Si, and gets, so germanium, and then we have sudden problems. So Sn is the symbol for tin, and problems, Pb for lead. So Pb, and here you have the sudden. Alright, so that was for 14th group of elements, which is chemistry sir gets sudden problems. Carbon, silicon, germanium, tin, and lead, Sn, Pb. Moving on to the 15th group of elements, night parties are anti-biased. Okay, I know this is strange, but yeah. So N for nitrogen, parties, P for phosphorus, R, so it's for arsenic. Night parties are anti, so anti is for antimony. Alright, so you should remember one thing, that Sn is for tin and Sb is for antimony. So how do you remember this? Again, tin, so Sn. Okay, so the other one would be for antimony. Alright, so next thing is for 16 group of elements, it is, I've just remembered it in the same way, OSATEPO. So you could also try that. It's really helpful when you're writing it down in the group wise. So you can write it down very fast if you remember in this way. So OSATEPO is really easy. Alright, so 17 group of elements, it's really obvious, fluoride, chloride, bromide, iodide. You would have just learned this. These 4 elements are really common, right? So yeah, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. Okay, moving on to the 18th group of elements, which is, the trick is, Hina, Nina are Karina's X-ray radiance, which I mean is that Hina and Nina are exactly, exactly like Karina. Karina's reflection. So that is what that is the meaning. So Hina Nina are Karina's X-ray radiance. So Hina for helium, Ne for neon, Ar for argon, and Kr for krypton, X for xenon. That's actually Xe, okay? And radiance, so that's for radon. All right. So Hina Nina are Karina's X-ray radiance. Okay, so this was it, and let me just summarize. Okay, so for 1A it's Ha, Linus Kedsrop, cats for. For 2A group of elements is he bets Maggie can't survive bad radiation. Okay, for 3B it is Skylark. 4B Titan Zoop, half rough. 5B Vani's notebook table isn't dustbin. Okay, for 6B Chromova. 7B Mantakri. 8B okay, for 8th group. Okay, in 8th we have 3 groups. So we have Firu's awesome house. Okay, Firu is a person. Okay, and for 9th group of elements we have Cobb's rhombus is irregularly mounted. For 10th, nice pudding plate darlings. And for 1B, coinage metals, copper, silver, gold, and rugby. Okay, and then for 2B, Zin could hug the cop. Okay, cop is for copernicium, Cn. Okay, and for 13th group of elements, Bal Gangadhar, Indian Tilak. For 14th, chemistry sir gets sudden problems. Okay, so Sn is for tin. Alright, so for 15th group of elements, night parties are anti-biased. Okay, for 16th, OSA Tepo. 17th, fluorine chlorine bromine iodine. 18th, Hina Nina are Karina's X-ray radiance. So this was it, and the rest of the elements will be covered in my part 2 video.